So I'm here with Tony and Ken, who are the owners of Antoinette. Actually, they're the original owners, right?
The original owners, yes.
Yes. And where did you buy her?
Bought her in San Francisco. We used to live in the Bay Area, so that's where we purchased her.
Oh, okay, great. And you've sailed how far? Where have you been with her?
I've never calculated the miles. I'm afraid to, but we've had her all up and down the west coast of the United States, and in Hawaii and those islands for 3 years.
Well, we sailed from San Francisco to...
Yeah, San Francisco. We went to Hawaii. We were going to charter in the Fijis, but changed our mind, stopped at Hawaii, spent 3 years chartering there, and then came back. And we went down through Mexico and stopped at all the little places along the way. And then we went to through the Panama Canal, San Blas Islands, Colombia, Venezuela, and then up through all of the Virgin Islands, British and U.S., and eventually to Mississippi, where I then took a job, well, both of us took a job as professional yacht captains.
Okay. And so a couple years ago, you started a big refit on her. In, what was that, 2012 approximately?
It would have been approximately 2012, but we've had her behind our house here, and it makes it real easy and convenient to work on her. And so we've been planning for another long cruise upon our retirement, but because of health reasons, that retirement is not going to happen in that manner.
Okay.
So
And
we've
how
been
long
working.
was the refit?
The refit lasted, I guess, 2 or 3 years,
Okay.
something like that.
And the interior was completely stripped down and refinished, correct?
Yes, the interior was down to bare fiberglass,
Mm-hmm.
and on the exterior we removed the teak decks on her, but everything inside basically has been redone. The cushions that you see, those are all new, no foam.
New windows.
The windows in the hull were all removed and replaced. We had to have special glass made for them. If anybody needs some extra windows that size, I can help them out. And all of the lighting fixtures, all of the plumbing, all of the electrical,
All the electronics.
all of the electronics. Basically everything on the inside has been completely rebuilt or replaced.
Including the engine and generator.
Including the engine, that probably has 4 or 5 hours on it, I don't know. And a new generator that has comparable hours on it.
What was the worst conditions you've ever had her in?
Well, that's a really tough one to say, but we were coming from Honolulu to San Francisco one time, and on the VHF, not the VHF, but on the weather forecast, they were saying in the quadrant right above us that there were 40-foot seas. We weren't in those, but we were really close to them. So it's been in some really, really good weather, and handled very, very nicely. Very nicely. Just put on the autopilot, send the wife up to the cockpit, and that's all there is to it.
So Ken, how does she sail, let's say in, a 15-knot breeze?
Well, she sails good in just about all weather. I don't care whether it's 10 knots or 40 knots. She's a very good sailing boat. Having been a professional yacht captain for a number of years, and all of the boats that we ran were over 100 foot, I think I would, if I had some bad weather, I would rather be on this than I would on one of those. It really is an excellent boat, and we sail her most of the time with just 2 people. And sometimes they question that, a 51-foot boat, but I've always found that if you have a sturdy platform, something to work off of, that you're in a lot better shape than you are if you got a smaller boat. I don't have to worry if the winds pick up and I've got to go reef or something. I've got a sturdy platform that I can work off of, and it's not that big of a deal. And of course now, it has roller furling, and most of our sailing was done without roller furling when we had to change head sails. So, two people can sail this boat very easily. It may take a little bit just to get used to. You just got to organize yourself, but it's not difficult at all. And we made ocean passages like that.
The FD-12 was a very famous design by Eva Hollman, and was built by William Eickholt. These were two very famous designers in the 80s out of California. Actually, William Eickholt was from Holland. One of the signature things on this boat is the wheel, which is just beautiful, and these owners have preserved it so that it looks like new. Another enormous locker here aft, which gives you access to the steering quadrant. There's tons of storage in there, including racks for at least 2 dive tanks. At least one is included. The bimini structure is a fairly solid one, so that you have it in all weather. The wheel, of course, we already talked about the wheel. Okay. And we have probably seating for at least 4 or 5 people comfortably in this cockpit. So we have a cutter rig with 2 roller furling head sails. Those, of course, are all very recent. The mainsail is a Doyle stack pack, which for many offshore cruisers is the ideal way to go. All of that, of course, is new as well. One of the most unique things on the boat is the big flush deck area. It's all been repainted. The boats originally came with Teak Decks. They were removed and professionally non-skidded by a company in Fort Lauderdale that's very well known called Patagonia. Starting forward, I'm crouching under the full deck awning. It's summer when we're filming this. We have an enormous windlass with chain and rope gypsies. You can carry 2 anchors forward. However, one of the most impressive things forward are these lockers. Refrigeration is in here, and it's all been replaced. The galley counters are beautiful. They have blue Delft tile. The builder, William Eickholt, was Dutch, and very proudly so, and they're really stunning. It's got a new microwave and a lot of storage in here. Also note that the drawers, everything's constructed, these are all dovetail joints. The boat is built, the way they used to build them. Let's just say that. Here's the nav station, which is opposite to the galley. As you can see, there's a full-size nav table, new electrical panel, and all new wiring in the boat as well. And the electronics are quite recent. Okay, so I'm in the aft stateroom. We have a nice-sized double berth to starboard, drawers underneath. And to port, this used to be a single berth and certainly could be brought back to that if someone wanted, but he's got it as a workbench, tool storage, and so it's very well set up for that. Back here, now this is under the cockpit essentially, so we have another access to the quadrant as well as a generator in here. And it is very easy to crawl in there and work on it, and I'm sure that you can appreciate just how clean that generator space is. Alright, so here's the owner's head with a separate shower area. I think this is my favorite part of the boat. The salon is just absolutely stunning. Beautiful round table. Everything's been refinished. The wood looks like new. You have a full settee on this side, tons of storage beneath everything. Diesel heater, if you want to go up north, you are all set. Forward there are 2 mirror staterooms, each with bunks and each with storage lockers, individual hatches as well. They share a common head that's all the way forward. And if you walk forward into the head, you have a full head with a separate shower that's shared by both of those staterooms. And now you're looking in the underneath part of that locker, that foredeck locker with the 2 lids. So that is completely accessible from inside as well. When you're considering this boat, one thing that's really important is to understand just the quality of the construction of this boat. These boats were extremely heavily fitted out, over-rigged. Everything was oversized on the boats. They were quite famous as circumnavigators in the 80s and 90s. But to find one like this today, which is essentially a brand new boat in this phenomenal hull, was really a surprise to me and a very pleasant one, and it's for sure one of my favorite boats I have ever had the pleasure of listing. Thanks for watching. I'm Lori Goldstein from David Walters Yachts. Please call me if you have any questions at all.